Hey friends, welcome to this week's nursery tour here at Creekside Nursery in Dallas, North Carolina. So this is what we do during our weekly nursery tours is we walk around the garden here at the nursery and we kind of showcase some plants that you would be interested in putting into your garden right now. So here we are, the last week of June. July is like knocking at the door. I don't know about you, but it is crazy how fast time has gone by. I want to start here at the Aqua Pots at the pergola because I just want to give you a little bit of an update. Oh my goodness, these pots have like just exploded. Now it's funny because we were talking with Cece and Andrew, and last week they looked horrible. After 6 inches of rain, the poor petunias were just a mess. But a couple of days of sunshine and warm temperatures, we have Mr. Bumblebee, they are just flourishing. So these are in Aqua Pot, so self-watering containers. And run through real quickly. This is a skyrocket grass, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. When we put this in, we thought, oh my word, what is this grass doing? Like, it took forever for it to do anything. And I really think it was the temperatures. So skyrocket is an annual grass. It will do those really pretty little white plumes on it. Heat has hit, it has finally taken off and is exploding. Then on each side we have the Trufula Pink. This is the Gumfrina from Proven Winners. Massive pollinator attractor, especially with your butterflies. So we've got those with some pink and some height to it. Then we have the Compact Blue with Eye. This is a Lobularia from Proven Winners. I wasn't sure how this was going to do in the heat, but it is doing really nicely. And then the two petunias are going to be new for next year. Now, the pink one, the coral, is Bermuda Beach. Bermuda Beach is not new, but this is an improved version. So it seems to be a bit of a richer coral color, nice, huge blooms on it. And then Saffron Finch. Saffron Finch has quickly become one of my favorite petunias because it has absolutely gorgeous color to it. It has very much of an ombre effect, darker on the inside, lighter as it comes out. Nice vigor to it. So this is going to be quite a vigorous petunia. So update here on the Aqua Pots. I mean, look at that. Are they not gorgeous? I love them. Turning out really well for those. All right, what we're going to kind of focus on today is perennials that would be this is a great time to add them to your garden, right? Because we have plants, right? There's a plant for every season, and excuse me, so some perennials and shrubs do better when you plant them going into cooler months, right? Because that's when they get their roots really growing. That's an active growth period for them. And then some perennials, shrubs, plants in general do better when you plant them going into the heat of the summer because they are heat-loving plants. So what we're going to focus on today, obviously, July is here, and so we are in the heat of the summer, going into the heat of the summer. We're going to focus on perennials that would be a great addition to add now because some just do better than others when you add them to the garden. We can't hit every single one, but we're going to hit a lot of them here at the nursery. Today is, what is today? Today is Tuesday. The nursery is going to be open tomorrow, so we've got some things that we're going to be taking care of, but you know us, we just show you exactly how it is. So for example, some great things that could be added to the garden right now. Your Summerific Hibiscus. So we have a huge variety of the Summerific Hibiscus. These are perennial hibiscus. They are considered perennials and not shrubs because they die completely down to the ground in the wintertime. But the Summerifics love the heat of the summer. That is when they flourish and take off. So for example, let's see, right here, we have the brand new, it is new this year. This is the Summerific Lilac Crush. This was one of my absolute favorites last year because it has a very upright habit to it. It has beautiful lilac colored blooms that are massive, and it just is a great performer. Heat loves it. If you can put it in an area where it gets consistent moisture, maybe you have a wet spot in your garden, whether it's from irrigation draining or who knows why, right? We just have certain areas that are wet. The Summerifics do great. This is going to be hardy in zones 4 to 9, so extremely adaptable. And this is going to be, like I said, more upright, so it's going to be a good 5 feet, 5.5. So you have the lilac crush with the lavender blooms, the lighter foliage. Then we come over here to the darker foliage. And this is another great one. This is evening rose. And evening rose is actually what we have planted in front of the greenhouse that is massive and just loving life. Evening rose does have that darker foliage, but it's interesting, it's not as black as Holy Grail or Edge of Night, because it'll have some green in it. So it's a little bit of some dark foliage, dark like a burgundy and then a green, but it has beautiful pink flowers in it. And this is only going to be 48 inches tall. So it's going to be shorter than your lilac crush, a little bit more of a rounded instead of just an upright columnar, but beautiful pink flowers on it. These do the full sun to part sun. Daylilies. We cannot talk about the heat of the summer without talking about daylilies. We have a beautiful assortment from Proven Winners with their Rainbow Rhythm series. This is Ruby Spider. And Ruby Spider is one of my favorites. I have it in the cottage garden, and this is just a massively prolific blooming daylily. Big, huge, like that's the size of my hand, right? And then look at that gorgeous, really nice, pretty yellow center. And then it kind of transitions out to a nice, rich red, gorgeous one. It is going to be 34 inches tall, and that does include the flowers. There is your tag. I know you people do enjoy your tag. Daylilies are hardy in zones, I'm reading upside down, 3 to 9, and they will get, of course, various heights on them, but just beautiful, beautiful blooms. We're going to show you some more here in a second. Well, let's just go ahead and go on down there, right? Jerry's a professional cameraman. He can keep up with me. Daylilies do bloom right on, their blooms are 1 day old. So let's look at these, because some of these have fresh blooms on them. Look at this one. Try to slow that down for you. This is Sound of My Heart. And Sound of My Heart is going to be a little bit of a shorter daylily than like the Ruby Spider. It is only 28 inches tall, but just look at that. It's got that yellow, the lavender, the peach, and then that ruffled edge on it. It is absolutely gorgeous. Daylilies are just one of those wonderful perennials that you can plant and then you can really just kind of forget about them. They are not like, you're not going to have to go out there and worry about lots of fertilizer. Once they're established, you don't have to worry about tons of irrigation on them. You just let them go. Now, if you do have some deer problems, yes, daylilies tend to be a little bit of a favorite snack for some deer, but just come in a range of colors. This is, now this is interesting. So this is Persian ruby, and Persian ruby to me looks very similar to Ruby Spider, except it's not, it has more of the darker outside. It's almost like a really, really rich kind of maroon color. 30 inches, and then notice as far as like the difference on the petals, really kind of oblong and long and rounded, not a ruffled edge at all. Now, if you want to come in and deadhead your daylilies, you can do that. I don't worry about it, but it does make the plant look a lot prettier. Here we have Primal Scream. Primal Scream is, oh my gosh, a beautiful, nice, rich orange color to it. Another massively prolific bloomer. It makes a huge statement in the garden. It really stands out because this plant will just produce so many of these electric orange flowers. Again, notice your flower petals, right? They are going to be more cupped on the back side, so they're really, their faces are opened up. It's just so much fun. And then we've got one more. This is Nosferatu, and Nosferatu is it's going to be kind of hard for me to show it because the sun, let's see, Jerry, if you can get this one, the sun has not fully come out yet, and so they're not opened up all the way. As the sun gets on them, they'll go ahead and open up some more. This is one that's been in the series for quite a while. Nice, deep, deep purple with that yellow center. Daylilies will also bloom at different times. So you have your early, mid, and late bloomers. But they are going to be a great addition to your warm weather garden. All right, we're going to back up some. We'll give you updates on those in a little bit. All right, okay, Agastaki. Agastaki is a lovely perennial that thrives in the heat and humidity and just the heat of the summer. This is Blue Fortune. And Blue Fortune is a what we call a non-branded plant, meaning that you're going to find them in black pots, right? So you're gonna be able to find them a lot more readily available. If you remember when we were in Tina and Archie's garden, she had a massive Blue Fortune in her garden, just stunning. They are covered in all sorts of different pollinators. You've got honeybees, you've got little beneficial wasps, all sorts of great pollinators love this plant. It is going to be hardy in zones 4 to 9, and it can be like 2 to 3 feet tall. It loves to have more than 6 hours of sun, and it just has a really nice fragrance to it. Agastaki will tend to be a little bit more deer resistant because it has a kind of a minty, herbaceous smell to it. The deer tend not to like that. Now, you cannot talk about a hot weather perennial garden without talking about Russian sage. Russian sage, I never fully understood the love affair of Russian sage until I found the right spot for it. And the right spot is lots of sun, terrible soil, and very little water. So if you have any conditions like that, then you need Russian sage. We have it at the top of the berm because it hits all those requirements. Oh my gosh, y'all. It looks just like this, but bigger in the garden. So this is Denim and Lace, just a really great plant. It is going to be hardy in zones 4 to 9. It's gonna get a good size to it, about not quite 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide. Again, tends to be more deer resistant because it has a really beautiful, almost like a rosemary type smell to it. It is wonderful. Now, we have not talked a lot about this astilbe. This is Dark Side of the Moon. And Dark Side of the Moon is a great one to add to your part sun shade garden. Now on the tag, it will say full sun to part shade. If you're in the south like I am, zone 7B, probably not going to do the best in the full sun because it's hardy in zones 4 to 9. If you're in a zone 4 to 6, you probably easily could put this in the full sun. But this astilbe has beautiful dark foliage that makes a beautiful presence in your garden. I have mine where they get morning sun and then they get a break in the afternoon. And what is really fun about this is you have those rich, deep chocolate brown leaves, and then you've got raspberry flowers on them. A wonderful perennial to add to your garden that will bring you some height and texture and do really nicely. Now, this is what I was talking about where we kind of show you real life. We did get 6 inches of rain last week and our daisies were in full bloom. They need to come back through. They're going to do it later today. Our folks, they're going to come back through here and get rid of those old spent blooms. But the daisies do love the heat, right? So they love the heat. They like moisture. They hate to have wet feet though. So don't put them in a spot where it stays wet. You will kill them. That's how I killed my first set of daisies, was I let them be in a spot that was just too wet. This is Marshmallow. This is the Amazing Daisies Marshmallow. Nice, big, thick flowers. But if you can come through and deadhead, and when we say deadhead, you're just gonna take it and you're gonna cut it back to about right here. You don't have to be precise, just go in there and clean that up. It will encourage more flowers. Obviously, it will make the plant look better, but the daisies are one of those that I say it does do best if you can go ahead and deadhead them. We're gonna switch over here, is Yarrow, Achillea. So we have 2 varieties here. So we have the Firefly Sunshine, and this is what I have in the backyard beds. And y'all, this plant, it can take a beating and just keep on going. Because last year we struggled with irrigation. We had just put them in, but they did great. A beautiful yellow flower. It's going to be 28 to 30 inches tall, hardy in zones 3 to 8. Definitely the full sun. If you want to do a fun, different little color, maybe yellow is not your jam. Maybe you like more of the peachy colors. This is Peach Sky. Peach Sky has those pinks and peaches and some little bits of yellow in there, a little bit of oranges, but nice, thick. Both of these have beautiful foliage to them, continuous bloomers, and just really easy to grow in that full sun, well-drained soil. And what we love even better, it says avoid planting in rich soil. So what that means is the worse the soil, the better it does. Hallelujah, we love that. All right, come over here because we've got some more of the Agastaki that I want to share with you. So these are, I've got 2 right here. These are the new ones from Proven Winners. So we've got the Raspberry Beret, nope, that's the Echinacea, Royal Raspberry, and then Queen Nectarine. So here is the Royal Raspberry. Oh, sorry. The sun is not cooperating with us today. Here we go. So meant to be Royal Raspberry. And the raspberry is going to obviously have some nice pink blooms on it, but it has a darker foliage. And continuous bloomer. Mine in the garden have started blooming, and they will just continue to bloom all throughout. They love the heat, y'all. This is one that you need to add to the garden when the heat of the summer hits. So if you like the pink, go with that one. If you want more of a little peachy color, then this is the, what did I say this was? Yeah, Queen Nectarine. Whew. So this has kind of like a cantaloupe peach color to it, a nectarine color. There you go. And it has just beautiful, nice green leaves on that one as well. All right, Nepidas are wonderful. You have, you've got pollinators all over it, but Nepida loves it hot, catmint, right? So we've got these. These are going to be continuous bloomers on through here. All right, let's talk about echinacea. As we go, though, we're going to hit and give you updates on containers because people have been asking. So here you go. This is the shade one that we did. We've got a hosta, caladium, Pegasus begonia, a Torrenia, the Double Delight yellow is getting a little bit squeezed out right here, and then a trailing coleus. So there you go on that. And then somebody was asking about the wheelbarrow. Let's hit the wheelbarrow. Nice and full. Nice and full. It is doing really great. In fact, this lobellaria this is a sky blue. I'm a little bit surprised with how well it's doing because I was afraid it was going to kind of peter out in the heat of the summer, but it is doing great. In fact, it's almost overtaking the salvias, but that's all right. So we've got beautiful mini Vista Indigo, the Alyssum. So those of you that were wanting an update on the wheelbarrow, there you go. Great pollinator tractor and just doing really well. Now, let's talk about echinaceas, because echinaceas are definitely one of those perennials that need the heat when you're planting them. They are hot weather loving perennials. Last year I planted mine in like July. It was hotter than Hades. I was like, what am I doing? I have never had more gorgeous echinacea than last year, and then they got so well established. This year they are doing great. We have 4 new varieties from Proven Winners this year that were really popular. We've got 2 doubles and then 2 singles. I'm trying to see if they're all down here. So this is the double-coated Raspberry Beret. Raspberry Beret, the double-coated, is a double bloom. This one is just now starting to open up, but it will have a nice thick center right there, and then your outer petals will be larger and just kind of really showcase that sweet double head. Echinaceas are going to be hardy in zones 4 to 8. This one's going to be 18 to 20 inches, so a little bit on the shorter side. So that's one of the doubles. Yep. Okay, so this one is not, you're going to have to trust me on this as far as far as what the bloom looks like, because we have buds, I don't have a bloom. This is the double coated butter pecan, and butter pecan is going to be that same double bloom, but a really nice soft yellow, still on that shorter side, 18 to 20 inches. So this will be great like the front of your flower bed, but just a gorgeous color. And then, okay, here are the ones that are the single blooms. So these are color coded, and this is the fuchsia is bright. So echinaceas, of course, are good pollinator attractors. We've got a little bee on there. But the fuchsia is bright, nice, big, huge pink flowers on it, prolific bloomer, and it is going to be bigger, 20 to 22 inches taller. So you could put this in the back, and then you could put, say, the butter pecan in the front of it. It would be gorgeous. And then the one that I really have been like super crazy impressed with both last year and this year is the one in a melon. So color coded one in a melon, it's going to be the tallest, 24 to 26 inches, and it is every bit of that, if not taller, in our garden in the backyard. We have, I believe it's 5 of them planted in a group together in a mass planting, and they are huge and gorgeous. Now, what makes the one in a melon really unique, not only because of the bloom color, but the bloom size. Like, look at this massive bloom, and this is not the perfect bloom on it, but it is huge. They are just massive, 5 to 5.5 inches, and just have gorgeous color to them, and just make a really nice presence in your garden. So echinaceas are most definitely one to be adding to your garden in the heat of the summer. We also have the sombrero series. Sombrero is one of those really like classics, like tried and true, great performers. So we've got it in like the red, we've got it in the, look at this beautiful yellow. So this is just the yellow, sombrero lemon yellow improved. Really nice, bright color. I say it's almost like a big bird yellow, right? Gorgeous, and it is going to be 22 to 24 inches tall as well. And then if you like orange, adobe orange, look at that. It is a great one. We have all of these in the backyard, and every single one of them, like all these sombreros, all the proven winter ones, are just like performing their heads off. It is fantastic. Nephophia is red hot pokers, and they are I grew up calling them red hot pokers, but the Pyromania series from Proven Winners. So you've got, like, this is the Rockets Red Glare. Obviously it's going to be a red, and all of these give kind of an ombre effect, which is really fun. The newer flowers, the newer petals are going to be that nice rich red, and then as they mature, they'll turn like a creamy white. And then this one is the Orange Blaze. Nice, big, bold color on that. Continuous bloomers will give you nice green foliage throughout the year. For us in here in North Carolina, it is an evergreen. There'll be different heights, like the Orange Blaze is 24 to 30 inches, and all of these are going to be hardy in zones 5B to 9. Have little bees going, that's actually a yellow jacket, I think, but big pollinator attractor. And then a couple more I just want to add really quickly. Alliums. If you don't have alliums in your garden, you need to. Alliums, of course, are like onions. So an allium is in the onion family. This is Lavender Bubbles, and this is one that we got from our friends over there at Walter's Garden. Full sun. It needs at least, I would say, 5 hours of sun, but they're getting ready to bloom. Big, huge purple flowers, massive pollinator attractors, love the heat. I mean, they're onions. They do great. And because they are an onion, they're deer resistant, hardy in zones 4 to 8. So there's a lot of different alliums out there. Proven Winners has Serendipity. This is Lavender Bubbles. So whether you can, when you're at your local garden center, look for alliums. You will not be disappointed in adding them into your garden. But whatever it is that you're looking for, right, remember we always tell you to shop your garden center throughout the seasons, because depending on the season, like you may come in the springtime and see Nephophia and you think, oh, that's just a green grass. Like, what's the big deal? I don't need that. But then when you come back in the summer and it's blooming and it is stunning, great, get it. Same thing with echinacea, because different plants, especially your perennials, right, because they bloom and they're flourishing and gorgeous for a season. If you're not in there in that season, you're not gonna see that. So visit your local garden center on a regular basis and see what they have to offer that you can add to your garden. This is a great time to find holes in your garden and then plug in the appropriate, perennials or shrubs to fill in that space and give you interest throughout the whole growing season. As always, we hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you next time. Bye, friends.